Hello and welcome to the Our Glory Days Growing Up in the 80s and 90s podcast. I'm Alan Wycherley and this is episode 10 already. Can't believe it. Well, I thought I'd start with some feedback that I've had about my space episode, and that feedback comes from somebody still young enough to be at school, and they said that they never had the same sort of lessons that we had in school, in depth in space, kind of what NASA was up to at that point, mostly to do with the sort of space shuttles at that point, I guess, and satellites and things like that. It was really exciting. But yeah, nowadays the most they do is a couple of lessons on space in science, and maybe do the space race in history if they do American history. And I think that's a real shame. And I don't know if it's NASA's fault in not capturing the imagination. There's so many exciting things going on, especially at the moment with the new rover mission on Mars. There's amazing pictures and even sound. It's so weird hearing sound all the way from Mars. But there we go, that's where we find ourselves now. And yeah, on to this. Well, before I go on to this week's subject, I thought I'd mention my fabulous hair. It's been nearly a year since I had it cut. And if you're listening to this and wondering why you're going on about your hair and why you're talking about showing it off, it's because I've got a new YouTube channel. I didn't upload the previous episode on there because I forgot all about it and then deleted the video accidentally. But yeah, if you want to see what I look like, if you want to see what I look like when I'm doing this podcast, then just head over to YouTube, search Our Glory Days, and you should find it. I'll also link it in the show notes as I do all the social media. But yeah, this is my hair, and it is basically how I had my hair in the sort of, I don't know, when did Terminator 2 come out? Was that 93, 94? But yeah, when Terminator 2 came out, I basically wanted to be Edward Furlong, and grew out my fringe, and I think I look like this. But it only looks like this now because of lockdown and not being able to get to the barbers. And hopefully with restrictions being lifted soon, this will all be gone. But I thought I'd show it off before it goes. So I've left my usual baseball cap off for this one. But yeah, on with this week's episode, and it's to do with Coming to America, a film that came out in 1988. And the reason I'm talking about it is because they're doing the second movie, the sequel. It's being released tomorrow on Amazon, and I'm equally excited and nervous about it all at the same time because I loved the original and I can't wait to see the new movie. It's got the same people in it, so it should be good, but at the same time I'm really nervous that they're going to mess it up like they do with so many other films from like my childhood. And yeah, I guess next week maybe I'll talk about what it was like and how it compared to the original. But this week I thought I'd just talk about my memories of that film because it's stayed with me throughout life, really. I've seen it so many times, and the humour doesn't ever seem to age. But what I've noticed is, as I've gotten older, I've understood more of it and appreciate the humour a lot more. Because my first, I guess I would have been around about 10 years old when I first saw it. It came out in 1988, but I definitely wouldn't have gone to the cinema to see it. So it would have been when it came out on video, I guess. And again, different era, different time. I would have been able to watch a 15 movie, no problems. I watched most 18 movies from an early age, and my mum and dad never really cared about it as long as it wasn't too gory or too scary. Even then, we used to, if my mum and dad used to rent out like Nightmare on Elm Street or a Jason, Friday the 13th movie or whatever, they'd always hide it in the same place, so we'd just get it out and watch it while they were at work or out or something. But yeah, Coming to America. The first time I saw it would have been about 10 years old. Didn't get half of the humour, but still loved it anyway, which I guess is a testament to how good Eddie Murphy actually is. Definitely didn't pick up on how many characters were played by the same two people throughout the film. Scenes that really confused me growing up were a lot of the barbershop scenes, and also the fundraising scene with the pasta and the sexual chocolate. They really didn't get that until a lot later. I think when I was young, most Eddie Murphy films in general, I just used to love the kind of swear words and the smut that was in there. But yeah, it's a movie that I think it's aged well. It's definitely of its time. You can't say it's timeless. It definitely is of the 80s, the late 80s, but it's a film that's still seen as really funny today. Like, my daughters love it. I've got a lot of friends who weren't even born when it came out but love that movie, and it'll just be a real shame if this new sequel's rubbish. Please don't be rubbish. And going to the cinema in general, when like these sort of 90s, I used to get in. I've always been tall for my age, and I'd get in like the first 18 movie I got in to see was when I was 13, which was Falling Down, and I saw Terminator 2 in cinema when that first came out, and it was just, I guess the checks were a lot less strict then, because even though I was tall, I definitely didn't look 15 and 18. So after time, I guess the person in the ticket office just kind of looked up, either saw my chest and just give me the ticket, or just couldn't be bothered challenging me and just let me go through. And sort of memories of the cinema back in that time are quite like, it's almost alien now. You know, you can buy your tickets online, you buy them before you turn up, but growing up, if you went to the cinema, especially if it was a new movie coming out, you just queued up to get in at before the time that you needed to get into it. And if you're unlucky, if you turned up late, you could be queuing for ages, and then they'd walk out with this little sign, shove it into the middle of the queue, and it'd just say, full house, and anyone past that sign had just queued up for nothing and had to go home or wait for the next showing. You couldn't turn up in the middle of the day, buy a ticket for it, and then wander off. You just turned up and bought it at the time of the movie, which just seems weird now. So that's my few memories of that movie, and a couple of about going to the cinema as a youngster. And I just want to say again, please get in touch. I get the odd person now and then sort of mention something to me, but what I'd really love is for somebody to really contribute like some memories that they've got. I'd love to hear what you think about the podcast, and comments about previous shows, what you'd like to hear in the future. But more than anything, just share some memories with me, because that's what this whole thing is about, is leaving memories of what it was like growing up in the 80s and 90s. And it'd be nice to get normal people's memories down. And it'd also be nice because I could interact with those memories too. It might bring up some stuff that I've forgotten about. And it's just going to really make this podcast a lot better to listen to, because I know people are listening to it. So come on, get in touch, get involved, leave some memories for future generations, leave some memories for your kids and your grandkids to get to know what it was like growing up. I'll link all of the social media stuff in the description as normal, and I'll put a link to the YouTube channel as well. Like, subscribe, rate, and yeah, thanks for listening. Catch you again next week.